Well, this video is probably going to get me blacklisted from the entire games industry, but who would want to be a part of that mess anyway? Apex Legends is off to a meteoric rise, reaching tens of millions of players likely by the end of February. It is by all measurements a resounding success for Respawn and EA. This video is not about the game at all. In fact, I've done an entire review of Apex Legends, and I'm going to leave it in the pinned comment below. I think it is a fair, unbiased review, and that review of the game and its gameplay had nothing to do with this. Separating, politics from video games is actually not that hard. But we have Apex Legends being awarded by me the wokest video game of all time. That's right, 25% of the roster is LGBTQ, and the games activist community loves that fact, and they are using it to market. And I have a lot of thoughts on this whole situation, on how the games industry abuses fake wokeness to get free clicks, and they don't really care about inclusion at all. They care about getting free clicks. Apex Legends having this overrepresentation, and that's exactly what it is, of an LGBT community is about clicks. It is not about inclusion. That's all a facade. Representation in video games is irrelevant. It doesn't really sell copies. It sells tweets. It's a marketing tactic. If we look at the nitty gritty, if you want me to get real here on a Friday, I don't think that it was a mistake that when you look at the Legends roster and you have a non-binary character, a gay Pacific Islander, a black female with pink hair, a robot that's agender or something like that. You have a female and another female. And you have, again, just going to put this out there, the only outwardly straight white male being fat and bearded, also behind a paywall. I'm just saying that the only kind of traditionally built characters are both behind a paywall. That is genius. Because if you allow me to put my woke hat on, and I don't think like this, so I'm going to do the best that I can. Given when I play this game, I generally play Bloodhound or Wraith or Pathfinder. It really just depends how I'm feeling that day. I don't care. Is there some enormously small percentage of people that care about looking like their video game character? There must be. I've had people write me lengthy emails about how representation in video games is a big deal to them. So I don't want to discount that, but to be clear, it is an extraordinarily small percentage of people. But if representation matters, if people really did care about that, then why do you think they would put the most common body type behind a paywall? If people want to play a character that looks like them, don't you think it's awfully coincidental that they put these characters behind a paywall? Just saying. And that is, of course, what I'm going to lead into here with a lot of this coverage. Coverage that, of course, would be predictable and in almost every case gets ratioed. Respawn confirms that 25% of Apex Legends roster is LGBTQ. Whenever I'm interested in whenever a game I'm interested in comes out and the first thing I hear about is the character's sexual orientation, then said interest magically disappears. And I don't like that I have to qualify this, but I'm going to, because things I say, and based on the industry, if you speak out against any forced inclusion, it's just, you must hate the gays. Obviously, that's not true. I don't really care that they're in the game. I care that they're being used to pander, all right? Let's be honest. Apex Legends doesn't have a story. The idea that a particular character is gay or not is completely irrelevant. It is 100% marketing wonk. It is 100% walking on the LGBT community to sell copies of a game. Is that okay? How come nobody in the woke community ever points this out? You never see a lot of these blue check marks ever talking about how the LGBT inclusion is just a marketing method these days. Going beyond, all right, if you had 8 characters, again, I don't really care, but I'm using their inclusion logic the best I can. Having 1 in 6 characters be of this persuasion would be an accurate representation, but they go all the way to 25%. I can't even imagine thinking about, boy, I wonder what Lifeline's up to outside this fictitious character, outside this fictitious game, outside the storyline of the game. The idea that you would be leaking or promoting this type of content about a huge chunk of your roster being gay, without actually having to back it with any story mode is obvious gay baiting. I don't know what else you call it. I mean, the thing is, nobody's playing this game because the characters are gay, and nobody's not playing it because of that. And when I say nobody, okay, there might be a few people that are really offended, but there are going to be 20 million players in this game by the end of the year, and really none of them care about this. So let's not give them all this praise. You have websites. Apex Legends is a battle royale from Respawn, but we have good news about the robot. Surprise, it's about his sexuality. Of course. Because that is all these games journalists can write about. I mean, there's nowhere are we talking about, the graphics, the gameplay. And by the way, one of the most underrated soundtracks in these games, I think. It's about who they are allegedly hooking up with. You have journalism outlets like Kotaku writing, "Sadly, it's surprising that there are 2 black women in Apex Legends." 2 out of 6. By the way, 3 out of 5 characters that have a gender are female. Just saying. Somehow that hasn't managed to hurt the rapid growth of the game. I thought all gamers were bigots. This Apex Legends success completely smashes any notion that gamers are anything phobic. Think about that. 10 million players in like 72 hours or something like that. 700,000 concurrent players. None of them care that the overwhelming majority of them are either going to be playing with a woman or a gay man. Imagine that. Where are all the articles talking about the game community embracing a diverse cast of characters? It's because we don't care. The game community doesn't care about this stuff. Games journalists, blue checkmarks who use the gaming community to write about social justice, they are the only ones that really care about this. Where are all the articles talking about how inclusive the gaming community is? None, right? Because that would smash their narrative that the gaming community is some sort of disgusting filth fest of unwelcoming people. Let's not let Respawn and other development companies reap all these benefits because they are just playing the crowd. If they didn't know that all these trash articles about who these fictitious characters are hooking up with in a fictitious world outside of the game wouldn't happen, I'm not sure we'd see this here. They are playing games journalists. So either as a game journalist, you can continue to call gamers unaccepting, or you can write articles praising us for welcoming such a diverse cast of legends. You can't have it both ways. I, for one, truly enjoy Apex Legends. It isn't my type of game. It isn't a game I will put hundreds of hours into, but it's a game that is similar to Call of Duty, for example, that I'll jump in and jump out when I want to blow off some steam. I prefer story mode. But what this really does is this proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that gamers don't care about their characters' fictitious sexual preferences or orientation. Consider this me putting Kotaku and Polygon and Rock Paper Shotgun on notice that the gaming community will expect articles retracting all of the horrible things you've said about us. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great weekend playing some video games. I'm going to be jumping into Tom Clancy's Division 2, Pringles Totino's Pickle Edition, Beta, Private, Super VPN, VIP, Bearing, Dankula Edition. Right after this video, playing over the weekend so I can give you some initial thoughts. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.